The story of the three mystics and the priest. A long time ago in Russia, three holy men called mystics became very famous. People from all over stopped going to the church and instead started visiting these mystics. They believed these three had a special connection to God. The head priest of the church became very upset. He thought to himself, "Who are these mystics? Why are people going to them instead of coming to the church?" In the Christian tradition, only the church could make someone a saint. The priest was angry that these three men were being treated as saints without the church's approval. One day, the priest sat in his empty church. No one came. His anger grew, and he decided to visit the mystics. "I will teach them a lesson," he said. He put on his finest priestly robes, took his gold staff, and set off to meet them. The mystics lived across a large lake, so the priest got into a boat and sailed across. When he reached the other side, he found the three men sitting quietly under a big tree. They looked simple and peaceful. The priest marched over and asked angrily, "Are you the ones people are calling saints? Because of you, no one comes to my church." The three men looked surprised. "Saints? No, we are not saints," they said. "We don't want people to think that about us. We tell them not to come, but they keep coming anyway. We just want to be left alone." Hearing this, the priest smiled to himself. "These men are fools," he thought. "I will show them how wrong they are." He asked them, "What do you do all day?" "We just sit here and pray," they replied. "Do you have a Bible?" the priest asked. The mystics lowered their heads. "No, we don't know how to read," they said. "We are simple, uneducated men." The priest felt even more confident. "You don't even know how to read, and yet people follow you?" He was sure he would embarrass them in front of everyone. "How do you pray if you don't know the church prayers?" he asked. Again, the three men looked down, embarrassed. "We couldn't remember the long prayers from the church," they said. "So we made up our own." The priest was shocked. "You made up your prayer. That's not how it works. Prayer is sacred, passed down through the church. You must pray the right way." The mystics were humble and asked for forgiveness. "We are sorry," they said. "We don't know better. Please teach us the proper prayer." The priest, feeling important, agreed. "I will teach you," he said. He recited the prayer from the church. The mystics listened carefully and tried to repeat it, but after a few tries, they still couldn't remember it. "Once more," they said. The priest repeated the prayer, but still the mystics struggled to remember. "One last time," they begged. The priest, feeling superior, said, "It's okay. Come to church every day and you will eventually learn." The three mystics thanked him sincerely. "You are very kind. We will come to the church," they said. The priest, satisfied, left in his boat, feeling proud of himself. But halfway across the lake, something amazing happened. The priest heard shouting behind him. He turned around and couldn't believe his eyes. The three mystics were running across the water as if it were solid ground, calling out to him. "Wait, please," they shouted. "We have forgotten the prayer. Teach us one more time." The priest was speechless. Seeing these men running on water was a miracle, something only Jesus had done before. He dropped his staff in shock. When the mystics reached the boat, they asked again, "Please teach us the prayer once more." We are confused about the words. The priest, now humbled, realized that these simple men had a special connection with God, far beyond what he understood. He bowed before them and said, "Forget everything I taught you. Your prayer is better than mine." The mystics were confused. "But we don't know the church prayer," they said. The priest replied, "It doesn't matter. Your prayer comes from the heart, and that is what God listens to." I was wrong. You don't need my prayer. Your faith is much stronger than mine. The priest left, deeply changed by what he had seen. He had come to teach the mystics a lesson, but instead they had taught him something far more important. Moral of the story. This story teaches us that true prayer doesn't have to be fancy or follow strict rules. What matters is the sincerity of the heart. The mystics were simple men, but their prayer was powerful because they prayed with deep faith and devotion. It reminds us that God listens to the honesty and purity of our prayers, even if they are simple. In life, we don't need to impress others with how much we know or how perfectly we do things. What matters most is the dedication and love we put into what we do. Whether it's work, relationships, or prayer, when we give our heart and soul, the results are always greater than we imagine. Just like the mystics, if we stay true to ourselves and stay humble, we can achieve great things, even miracles.